The 25-pin D-sub has the 25-pin D-sub on the IPA has 7 discrete inputs and 4 outputs. The IPA has a 25-pin D-sub connector which has 7 discrete inputs and 4 outputs. They work at 5 to 24 volts. They're optically isolated. There are 3 high-speed inputs, so you could use those either for registration sensors or other high-speed type applications. The IPA has a 25-pin D-sub connector. On there, there is 7 discrete inputs and 4 discrete outputs. It can work at 5 to 24 volts. There's 3 high-speed inputs, and there's high-speed number 5 and number 6 can be used with a standard differential quadrature encoder for gearing or camming, or even a load-mounted encoder. If you wire a differential encoder to high-speed inputs 5 and 6 as the encoder changes, encoder 1 parameter P6160 will update automatically. You don't need to enable this. The hardware is always on, or it can be used as high-speed inputs read as bits 5 and bits 6. Or it can be used separately as 2 high-speed inputs, bit 5 and bit 6. For the inputs work the same way as the 7000 controller, where we give you the plus and the minus so you can wire it syncing or sourcing. We show you both NPN and PNP here. On the NPN, you would connect the plus high, and then the current flows from the power supply into the input plus and then out the minus. It goes to the sensor, which is then switched to common, and then the common is tied back to the power supply. And then the NPN sensor also requires 24 volts, so that also gets connected to the power supply. For the outputs, the plus and the minus, when they're turned on, will just tie together. So this is a lot more straightforward. An NPN input typically is pulled high, and so the current would flow from the pull up out the input into the output plus, and then it would go out the output minus back to the common or the reference for the input, and connected to ground internally. So that's how the output for a NPN wiring would work. The IPA also has 3 status LEDs on the front of the IPA. On the top LED, if it's off, and it's for the middle LED and the IPA also has 3 indicator LEDs up on the top. The top 2 give you the drive and the controller status. The bottom gives you a Ethernet network status.